I love the ruffle I've added to my tote, so I thought I'd show you how to make one. First, you just need to measure the length of the area that you want to add the ruffle to. So in this instance, I'm making a little zip tote, so I'm measuring the two sides and the bottom. Then you want to grab a pen and paper and just do a little bit of maths. I've created a downloadable PDF, so it's easier for you, or you can screenshot this. And all you want to do is you want to calculate your width that you've just done, and you add a 1/4 of an inch seam allowance at both ends for this type of ruffle that I'm showing you. And then you just times it by 1.5 for a loose ruffle, 2 for a much tighter ruffle. It just depends what it is that you're making and how tight you want it to be. Once you've calculated that, you then just need to work out the depth of the ruffle, times that by 2 and add your seam allowance. And then we're on to the making of it. So once you've cut the piece of fabric that you've just done your calculations for, you want to give it a good press and you want to fold it in half, right sides together. Press along that fold that you've just made, and then we're going to take it to the sewing machine. And all you want to do is just sew those two ends with a 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. Then on the folded end, just snip off that corner to reduce the bulk before you turn it to the right side out. Poke out the corner with a knitting needle or something sharp, just don't go through the corner, and you want to do that at both ends. Once you've done that, just give it a really good press before we're going to go to the sewing machine. Set your stitch length to as high as it will go, mine's 5, and then pull up your bottom thread and pull out those two long threads so you're starting with long tails. Then just inside your seam allowance of a 1/4 of an inch, you want to sew a straight line all the way down, and you're now closing the open edge that you had on that long length of fabric you've just turned inside out. Once you've done that first row, then you just want to do a second row about 1/8 of an inch inside that seam allowance, so that you should end up with two rows that look something like this. And what you want to do is find the two bottom threads and the two top threads. Take the two top threads and get them out of the way. And then what you're going to be doing is you're going to be pulling on those bottom threads. You're going to be pulling gently because what you don't want to do is snap them. So you just gently pull them through, and with one hand just tease the fabric along, and you'll start to see those ruffles gathering. Once you've pulled it a bit, then hold onto the fabric and tease it along. Don't kind of pull it against the thread, because if you snap it, you're going to have to start all over again. And then I work out on my tabletop what's the length that I'm aiming to get to, and then I just keep gathering from both ends. If it's a particularly long piece of fabric, you might find it easier to do kind of half from one end, half from the other. And then I just keep doing this until I get to the desired length. And there you have it. You then attach it to whatever it is that you're sewing, and you've got your finished ruffle. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please do like and share. Thanks.